will be held today, Monday, May 4th. The time is 7 p.m. May I have a roll call, please?
Mary Moore,
Present.
Julian Hernandez,
Here.
Richard Gandara,
Here.
Sonia Hernandez,
Here.
Brenda Treviño, here, Abel Nieto,
Here.
Roland Segovia,
Here.
Davina Rodriguez.
Here.
Alrighty, let us stand for our invocation as well as pledge of allegiance. Mr. Costo? Can you do us that, please?
Heavenly Father, we just thank you, Lord God, for awesome, wonderful blessings, Lord, protecting, Lord, the people in Pearsall, Crew County, Lord, with this very few COVID-19 cases. So we just want to thank you, give you the honor and the glory for it. Pray for your blessing upon this council meeting here tonight, for those that are here, for those that are distant and at home, Lord. I pray that you would just bless each and every one of them. Bless our mayor, city manager, our finance director, and staff that is here this evening, Lord God, and that this meeting will just allow them to be able to accomplish business at hand and to be able to see the city prosper, Lord God. Thank you for all the blessings once again. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Alrighty, we're going to start with our new business, A48, COVID-19 update from Creole Regional Hospital CEO John Houston. Mayor, Mr. Ray.
Hello, thank you for the introduction. Sorry, I'm driving, so if there's some road noise, that's not much I can do about that. I apologize. So we released a statement on Saturday about our first positive patient to be treated in the hospital. I will say that there's some discrepancy in reporting from the state about this particular patient. And the information that we received was unfortunately not entirely accurate. And so we're continuing to treat this patient as a COVID patient, but we believe that they in fact are not positive for the disease. And so, however, we are still treating them in that manner. I know that there is the commissioners are likely aware of the increased activity in ICE and GEO adjacent to the hospital, and with additional detainees and also some guards that have become exposed and therefore infected by the disease. The state, this was part of Governor Abbott's reopen the state for business and I guess stabilize the economy to some degree, but part of his plan was to test 1% of the Texas population via a convoy of National Guard troops. They were at the hospital last week on Thursday, and they tested about 43 patients, or 43 citizens, and unfortunately we don't have access to any of those data, and we don't know where those patients came from, those people came from. We don't know if they were all Frio County residents or surrounding counties. I just know that the head count essentially that they did. So I'm actually on my way. The reason I'm driving is I'm on my way back from Austin now. I went and picked up some hand sanitizer from our advocacy group. It's a TORCH. It's an acronym for the Texas Organization of Rural and Community Hospitals. They were able to source some hand sanitizer that was made by Tito's Vodka Distillery there in Austin. And it is at a high enough alcohol content that it is effective against viruses and bacteria. So I have bringing back 15 gallons of that now, and the rest of our PPE count is adequate for quite a heavy surge. Frankly, we ordered masks and things when we could get them, and not knowing what the surge might be or if there would be a surge, and so we have ample amounts of masks and other face shields and things like that. we're running a little bit low on gowns, but we were able to find a vendor that was making gowns that are reusable. They are droplet proof and frankly waterproof, and they are able to be washed and laundered with our regular commercial processes at the hospital. And so we bought 100 of those, and they can be reused each 40 times. So we're counting that as 4,000 gowns. So will give us adequate supply of gowns. There was this Thursday, our environmental services, our cleaning crews have done a fantastic job of keeping the hospital clean and refreshed, and frankly, since we have not really had any true COVID positive patients in the hospital, we've been very fortunate in that sense that it's easy to manage. But just in an additional layer, we are having a commercial sanitizer come to the hospital and spray the entire hospital. They wipe things down, spray it. They use ozone guns to kill virus and bacteria throughout the hospital. And we will continue that. So that will be the entire hospital campus, including our other buildings in the city. And then our high traffic areas like the emergency room and our drive-through clinic will be done on a pretty regular basis going forward. So it'll be 2 to 3 times a week that we will continue to do that based on the longevity and the efficacy of the chemicals that they're using. The chemicals that they're using are biodegradable. They are FDA approved. They are deemed effective against COVID-19, odorless, colorless, and otherwise non-toxic for humans. So a really nice solution that's out there. I think that's kind of we opened our clinic in Dilley last week. And this is a city meeting, so that may be more for the county commissioners meeting, but we did open our clinic in Dilley and doing most of the visits there via telemedicine, except for those that need to come in and see the provider. But again, we're continuing to screen everybody coming into the hospital, and we have not elected to begin surgeries again, partly due because of the increased PPE use, and also because the surgeries that we typically do in the hospital are not necessarily surgeries that would be considered life-sustaining or a procedure that would present a more chronic issue. And so we have elected, we met today, as a matter of fact, with the medical staff and the rest of our clinical leaders, and all felt that we needed to wait probably closer to the end of month before we made that decision. At that point, we'll probably look at calling back to work those that have been able to work from home, and that's kind of where we're at from a hospital's perspective. So I'm not sure if I hit on all the points that you guys would like to know about, but I'm happy to answer any questions you might have.
Any questions? Yes, Councilman.
Sir, Councilman Segovia, Roman Segovia. First of all, I want to thank you very much for keeping us posted with some of this information. The question I had for you, sir, was that, I know you're at the hospital and you're one of the first persons to have contact with any of these COVID-19 cases. What is the proper steps that y'all take to let the city of Dilley, Commissioners Court, County Judge, the Mayor, and the City Council know about the cases that are being handled in Pearsall? The reason I'm asking, sir, is because I always find out the information secondhand through either employees of the
Okay,
hospital.
so can I ask you to pause for a second? I think he's standing kind of a long ways away from maybe the microphone, and there's a really bad echo, or just acoustics are bad, and it's really difficult to hear. Is there any way to get closer to the mic?
Can you hear me, sir?
Better.
Can you hear me?
Sure.
Okay. No, I just wanted to ask you
I'm gonna pull off.
Thank you.
All right, I'm pulling to the side of the road so I can Better?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Well, just a brief question real quick. What are the steps that y'all take to let the public officials, the city, the county, and both Diddy and Pearsall, or the city managers, aware of any active COVID-19 cases in Frio County?
So, as of right now, all of the positive cases that have been identified in Frio County have not originated from Frio Regional Hospital. So the patients that we have tested through our drive-through screening clinic, patients that have been in Pearsall have been negative, and I will double check that while I'm talking on the phone. I have a log that I can access from my phone. But all the tests that we have done from Frio Regional at our drive-through clinic have been negative, and so therefore there's not been anything for us to report. The latitude that we have from the state is they do not want us reporting names to any local or county officials. The extent of the reporting that we can do is we can share addresses, but not specific people to the emergency management coordinator of that respective county. So what our team does whenever we test a patient and we get those results back, we report the negative results to those emergency management coordinators. The CDC, STRAC, the Texas Department of State Health Services, they have all asked us to not report positive cases to those EMCs. They have indicated that they will do that themselves. I understand that that is not ideal and it's not we would like to do, but it's unfortunately what we've been asked to do by the state and other officials. I'm confirming now that yeah, all of the positive cases that we've done through our drive-through screening clinic have been negative. I'm sorry, not all of them have been negative, but all the cases from Pearsall have been negative. The only positives that we have identified on through our drive-through clinic have been outside of the county. So we would have had nothing to report as it relates to positives anyways inside Frio County or Pearsall. But those patients that are under investigation, essentially under investigation just means that we're pending results. If we collected a sample and we're just waiting on the results back from the lab, well, those are reported, the addresses are reported to the emergency management coordinator and county dispatch, so that police, fire, first responders are otherwise aware that there is special precautions that they need to take if approaching a particular address.
Last question, sir. I know that the governor has instructed the National Guard to be down here like they were last Thursday, and we had 43 individuals show up. Do you know if they're going to come back again anytime soon?
They have offered to come back this week, this Sunday, and I've indicated to them that we would love to have them back. I think they were, by their own admission to me, had one of the larger turnouts in a rural community at Frio Regional Hospital than they have had at other locations. Prior to coming to us, I think they were in Carrizo Springs. Before Carrizo Springs, I believe they were in Kennedy. There was some other places, but turnouts were typically between 10 and 15 patients, and they got 43 in Pearsall. So I want to make sure that I give kudos to the commissioners, superintendent, some of the faith leaders in the community, and I know I'm leaving people out, but community leaders and stakeholders in Frio County and in Pearsall did an excellent job of helping us communicate that information. We really got about 2 days notice from the state of when they were going to come. So through quick action, the commissioners and other leaders in the community, we were able to get that message out. And I think probably the result, we had such good turnout. So as soon as we hear from the state about this coming Sunday, either yes, they are coming or no, they are not coming. I will make sure and share that with the community leaders so that we can again make everyone aware and make everybody know about the availability of the testing.
The last thing I have to say, sir, before I pass it on to any council members that want to speak, is that I don't know if it's doable, but you as a leader of the community at the hospital, I was going to ask you that if it's doable, that if you can somehow reach out to the 3 family facilities that we have in Fairfield County, which is GEO, the ward at GEO, the family facility in Delio and 85, and also the state prison, and make them aware of the National Guard coming to Pearsall on, hopefully on Sunday, and hopefully they can pass a memo to the employees to see if maybe they'll be willing to participate in this testing. Reason being is that you probably know that according to the results that we've gotten, that a lot of the results that have come back from the GEO facility, and that's what bothers me a little bit. So I was going to ask you if there's any possible way that you can reach out to those people as a director of the hospital and just make them aware. Of course, you cannot make them come, but we can just make them aware of what we're going to have Sunday.
So I'm in regular communication with Commander Rios at the ICE facility in Pearsall, operated by GEO, and she was certainly aware of the state presence, and she has also circulated the flyer that we have on our Facebook page, notating to their staff that our testing is available and it is free. I say free, and I want to just add this disclaimer. If a patient has insurance, we will bill the insurance and accept what the insurance pays, but we will not balance bill the patient. And those that do not have the ability to pay, we are not charging for it. So, but Commander Rios at ICE is absolutely aware. I'm happy to share with whoever I have email addresses for and have contact information for. So I will give you, or give the council my email address. If you want to email me and make sure you're on any kind of a distribution list that we have from the hospital of important information, I'm happy to include you on that.
Mayor?
Give a pen and paper.
It's also, we should also remind everyone that, yes, it's free or billed to your insurance, but you do have to be symptomatic. Because we're not testing patients without, citizens without symptoms. Correct, John?
That's correct, and same for the state. On their flyer, they indicated that you needed to have one of, I think, of a list of about 8 symptoms. As long as you had one of those symptoms, they would complete the testing. Our process is very similar. You go through a screening process. PA Moore and our other nurse practitioner are available. If you rule in, and by ruling in, that means you are have at least one symptom, they will schedule you for your testing. If you rule out, meaning you have no symptoms, they will probably tell you to follow local guidance and local ordinances. And if that means quarantining or staying at home or masking or whatever the then current local ordinances are, is what you'll be guided to do. So,
Yes, Councilwoman.
again, let me give my email address. Let me give my email address real quick, so that if anybody wants to make sure that I have contact information for those other facilities that were mentioned. My email address is John, JOHN, UGHSON at myfarh.com. So john.Houston at myfarh.com.
Yes, Councilwoman Rodriguez.
I have a question for John. I received some phone calls about the testing, and I know that they have to be symptomatic in order to complete that test. I know there is, since there is about 10 positive cases that we're aware of at the GEO facility, there's people there that they may not have the symptoms, but they've been around detainees that are positive, or are around the nurses that are positive, and I know a few went to try to go get testing. I'm the one that sent them over there, and I thought it was if either they are symptomatic or they've been around somebody that has been positive for COVID-19. Would think that they should be able to be allowed to be tested since they have been exposed to somebody with COVID-19.
You know, we have tested people that are asymptomatic, that are, you know, first responders, healthcare workers, other things like that. As this is kind of a, you know, developing situation. There's a thing within GEO, so if they believe that their staff need to be tested because of exposure, I know that they are doing that. When I talked with Commander Rios, to the extent that they can, they are testing those employees inside that facility. So if somebody was working with a detainee that is known to have been positive, they are testing those patients within the facility. However, those employees, many of those employees that work at work at the ICE facility are employed by GEO. Their labor unions cause them to have to treat them within a certain, I don't know, I'm speculating about exactly what it is, but I do know that Commander Rios has indicated to me that the unions pose a little bit of a challenge sometimes in forcing employees to be tested, or, you know, calling them off to be quarantined at home if they've been working with other employees. And to the other commissioner's point earlier, we can strongly encourage, we can ask, but we can't make people be tested. So if there's a person that somebody has specific concern about, that's something that we can manage, and we have done that, but unfortunately we can't make people contact us.
My question was simply that they were just questioning if they're able to go up there, even though they're just been in the same facility as the COVID-19, if they're able to get that test done. Then it's also going to go towards the post office. I know that we do have a positive employee that was working at the post office. Some of those employees have been tested. If y'all do come Sunday and the employees that have not been tested, would y'all turn them away if they would like the test due to that one employee being positive?
So on Sunday, that is the state, and I cannot answer for them. I do know that the liaison that I met with on Thursday when they were here last indicated to me that they were testing some people that were asymptomatic and really had nothing to qualify them for testing other than believe they were around somebody with COVID-19. The hospital's process Monday through Friday, 8 to 5, is something that we can look at. The way ours works is that they use the screening tool. Some of that is automated. It's being monitored by real people, live people. People respond and answer questions. It's something that I can look into, and I will. If there is a way that we can modify some of those questions to ask the patient or if the person that is responding has been in contact with a known COVID person, and that may rule them in, and we can see if we can make those changes on the back end. But I'll have to do some research on that. I can't answer that right now. I apologize.
Thank you, John. Yeah, my question was just for the people that would like to be tested, not for us to mandate that. But thank you for answering the question.
Sure.
Any other questions, Council? Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, we're moving on to item 4B, discuss and consider scoring and awarding of deals for the elderly and disabled, and authorizing the city manager to negotiate and execute contract with proposers who provides the best value to the city. This is an action item. We need to entertain a motion to discuss. Please. May I have a second? All in favor? Motion carries. Yes, sir.
Mayor and Council, in your packet, you have
official action to prepare this item as far as the memo there, but it talks about us opening up the bid packet. We did open it up on May 1st, and there was 3 proposals that were provided. And you'll see in the packet the 3 proposals that were provided. In your packet there, you'll also see the score sheets that we're asking the council to utilize tonight. And the scores we could do and again on that, you can do now, then we can calculate them and have them at the end of the meeting. We just need some time to actually do the calculating. And if you have them, great, we've asked that you wait until today to actually score them, but anyway, if you already have them, that's fine. Just make sure the understanding is that you work those up yourself. So you do have three vendors and request for proposals also in there. And you'll have menus, some will provide menus. I think all of them actually provide menus. So again, that's completely up to you as far as the scoring. And I think we were pretty clear as far as how the score should be broken out. It's a 100-point system, and it's based on 4 criteria there. And that was also put into the RFP, which was experience in planning and executing feeding and providing meals for large groups. The other one was a partnership with local community. And that was what we're asking for is to whether they operated here in Pearsall and the number of employees the company had. We were also asking for cost being the biggest factor. I'm sorry, I missed that. That was 40 points of the entire 100-point system. And then the last one was food safety. So we were asking for them to provide permits and all that other stuff that you see in some of those packets. So again, based on the information that we've received as staff, that's the way the RFP was prepared. And so once this is done, once the scoring is done, what we'll do is, if the council wants to move forward, is we will award, and then I don't have a contract prepared for any of these vendors yet, but we'll award, prepare the contract, negotiate anything we have to. On our end, what we're looking for, I guess, when the council wants to move forward, I think the mills will start on the 15th of May. And we would start at that point, and all we would ask from the vendor side is make sure we account for the 250 meals that are being served and the food that are going out. So I think we just need some help on that end, but anyway, that's all I have as far as the
Questions?
I have a question. Invoice for, can we say the name?
yes.
Invoice for Crystal Man. It says on the product menu for Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Here's the product price, unit price is $3.50. But a couple of pages after that, there's another price list.
Yeah, I was a bit confused by that too. And that'll be part of the negotiation, but it's my understanding that based on what I read, that she can prepare these meals. She's telling me, but I understand what she's saying is this would be her price if she sold it to anybody else. But she's willing to do this for $3.50 every meal. If you look at the bottom of the invoice, I believe she references, she does reference that every meal will be $3.50.
Okay, so that's just for information.
Yes, sir. She's showing me the illustration of what she would charge, is what I understand.
Any other questions?
If you have your score sheets, again, what we can do is score them, and then, again, if you don't have any questions about the scoring criteria, we can go around and work on that. And then when we still have an executive session, we'll come back and get the scores. Get them now and then have them all calculated by the time we go into executive session. Unless somebody else has any questions on the scores.
I have a question on the last proposal. How will they be able to distribute those out here if they're not on this one?
Right, that's a good question. I think I would have to discuss this with them, I mean, as far as the negotiation, but my understanding is they included that as part of the cost. I don't know that for a fact.
Because at some point, they're going to rely on city staff.
Yeah, I think on that one, we made it clear that we're not responsible for any delivery costs. That's actually in the RFP. We are not responsible for delivery, whether they're local or out of town. That's on them to determine. We made it clear, in the RFP, so they're aware of that.
Any other questions?
One more question.
That's the maximum score we can give that. Maximum score is 20. So you give it this. Roland asked me a question just to make sure on the score sheet, and also for Councilman Trevino. On the score sheet, again, if you look at that, just to make it clear, again, it's a 100-point system, and I want to make sure that this makes sense to all the council. I need to find the score sheet. It's right behind your memo there. But again, you have your 40 points. They're on the first row. If you feel that the high score being a 40, you feel like these proposers did really well as far as their proposal, you can score as high as a 40 on the first row, okay? On what says experience in planning and executing and feeding and providing meals for large groups, the maximum score you can get for that row is 20 points, okay? So looking at your proposals, those are the scores, and again, you're looking at rows. When the columns will tell you who you're giving scores to. So the columns tells you, the first column is the brisket man, the second column is the casa, and the third column is silver gold services. So that, again, I just want to make sure on that the council understood what it is and how they're scoring this up. I want to make sure there's no question.
And each one can get up to 40.
Right, on the first row, and then you have, each other one you have a maximum of 20 points for a total of 100 points for the entire proposal. So you have the partnerships with local community is the other row, then the food safety is the other row, which is another 20 points. So what we're going to do is get your scores at the very bottom where it says total. You're going to get your total scores for each column, and we're going to calculate those to get our average as to who the winning proposals are. That's how we're going to do
That matters earlier.
it.
It's just earlier. Any questions, Councilman? To go again, any questions?
No, thank you.
We'll take those up throughout the meeting, as we finish this rest. Okay. Davina, Councilman Trevino. Councilman Trevino. Rodriguez, excuse me. Davina, can you get your scores and just text them over to
Or take a picture?
Crystal?
Yeah, I'm gonna do that.
All right, thanks.
Okay, so we're going to just leave this open, or?
Yes, soon we can open the scoring and then we will bring it back after the executive session.
Okay, so we're gonna move on to 4C. Discuss and consider authorizing the city manager to purchase light cars and trucks for the city of Pearson from Cadwell Country through by board contract number 521-16. This is an action item. Need to entertain a motion to discuss this.
Motion.
Second. All in favor?
Mayor and council, at the last council meeting, or meeting before, I think it was the last council meeting, we were asked to bring back the equipment for the department as far as the units that they were interested in purchasing, or we were interested in purchasing. We did bring back, those units are on this agenda. We also brought back all of the equipment that we were requesting earlier in the year for all of the public works equipment. There's a total there. If you look at in your packet, there's a total of 14 pieces of equipment. All in all, that I think it's around 400. The whole cost of the whole thing is around $450,000 for all 14 pieces, excuse me. The 14 pieces include, again, the 3 police units, 10, I believe it's 10 units for public works, and 1 unit for city administration. That's the way it breaks down. You have, I'll go over some detail. You'll have, the very first is the purchase of an SUV. There again, that would be, we're asking for the city administration for that one. The other piece, the other more, bigger, I guess, costier items are, there's 1,500 Chevrolets, 2020s, there's Silverados. And anyway, we're asking for 5 of those. Those will all be going to public works. You have other items there for bigger pieces of equipment for public works, which is Silverados again, that are for folks that are clearing crews. We're asking for 4 of those. And then we have 1 piece of equipment, to carry some of our heavy equipment, and it's 3,500 Chevrolet Silverado, and we're asking for 1 of those. The last thing you'll see is the 3 police units for the police department. And with that, there's the 2020 Ford Explorers, and that's the extent of all the purchase. So the idea is, we purchased them this year. We talked to these folks. They're waiting for a purchase order to move forward with I guess procuring them. We still need to come back and bring you back. I think we bring back another item, which is a purchase of computers. But aside from that, you also see a resolution for the financing of all of this. So we're looking, starting next year, payment. I think it's a 5-year note. We're looking at a payment of about $110,000 a year for the next 5 years for, give or take, $100 to $110,000 of what we'll be paying. And I don't have an accurate number on that simply because I don't have a quote yet for the computers yet. But I'm close. I hope to have those. We should have had them cut last week, but I'm still waiting. So that's all I have. But those are all the requests for all the equipment. And the list of equipment for public works, I think I've given you all a list of all of the equipment that they were requesting that we're going to replace. And a lot of it is hand-me-downs and hand-me-downs. To be quite frank, I can show you all the equipment that they have right now, and it's all in pretty bad shape. Not all of it, but a good 2/3 of it.
Questions?
Mayor,
Councilman.
Mayor, Mr. Ray, so 5 years, 110, you're looking at close to 600,000?
Starting next year, 500 and the little 500. Yes, sir. The payments won't begin until next year, so that's why they're not on this year's budget. If you like, I can show you all the pictures of all the equipment that we're gonna dispose of when and if we get these units. But they're all.
Awesome.
Yes.
Any other questions? If not, we need to. You have a question, or are you ready to make a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Okay.
Mayor,
Proceed.
Mayor, I would like to make a motion that we authorize the city manager to purchase light cars and trucks for the city of Pearsall from Caldwell Country through the buy board contract number 521-16.
There's a motion on the table, Madam Secretary. All in favor, by show of hands, please. Motion carries unanimously. All right, we're gonna move on to item 4D, discuss and consider resolution number 2020-05-01 regarding a contract for the purpose of financing vehicles and equipment. This is action item. Motion to discuss, please. Motion. Second. All in favor? Yes, sir.
Mayor and Council, this item is part of this financing. Again, this city here is historically financed with this company. I think over the years, I think we've had at least 2 or 3 leases that I'm aware of, which is government capital. And they are requesting the resolution in order to move forward with the financing. So if you have any questions on the resolution, I'm happy to
Motion carries unanimously. You can entertain this emergency, item that was added to the agenda now before executive session. This is 1A, emergency agenda item, discuss and consider possible action to adopt resolution number 2020-05-02, requesting the governor order that facial masks must be worn in the city of Pearsall. This is an action item, you can entertain a motion to discuss, please. Motion. City of Pearsall. City of Pearsall. City of Pearsall. May I have a second, please?
Okay.
All in favor? Motion carries unanimously.
You want to go ahead? Go, I'll pass this on to.
Mayor, first of all, I want to thank you very much for putting this item as an emergency item, you know, for the betterment of the citizens of Pearsall. When I called you last night, first I called Bobby, and I asked him if it was okay that if I would talk to you and ask you about this item being placed on the agenda for a possible emergency item, due to the fact that the governor had already declared that we don't have to have mandatory face masks to be worn. One of the things that I saw in the community was that week that we had the face mask mandatory, it was very good. I was very proud of the citizens of Pearsall. You know, I would observe at Walmart and H-E-B, and I would say at least 95–96% of people were wearing a face mask, which was very good. And then all of a sudden, when the governor declared it not mandatory last week, you know, it kind of scared me. And I've been getting a lot of phone calls, and I've been getting a lot of comments from people around town. And that's why I asked you if you would support this project and to see if the council would support it. And I know it's a long shot because, like I said, we're going against the wishes of the governor. But the thing that bothers me is that because of the conversation we had with the CEO of the hospital, is that a lot of these cases are coming in from the jail facility. Okay, I'm not so much talking about the employees, I'm talking about detainees. And once again, I stress out on the conversation that I had with the city administrator for Dilly, that he brought up the issue of the 3 facilities that we have here in Phil County, which was the jail facility, which houses over 1,000 people, and employees over 500–600 people. And then we also have the family facility on 85, which houses over 1,000 people, and I don't know how many people are employed, and then also the state prison. So we have 3 big facilities that have inmates there, and I'm worried that this thing, if it does catch here in Field County, it's going to spread like wildfire. And if we can somehow prevent it a little bit, you know, try to prolong it, you know, with face masks, I think that, you know, it's worth a shot. And like I said, you know, I'm asking the council to consider this. We probably get shut down, but hey, at least we're trying to be, you know, proactive in this case and trying to say, hey, you know, listen to us, you know, please listen to the 3 concerns that we have and the 3 facilities that we have here in Federal County. And like I said, city manager from meetings on board, he hasn't talked to his city council. He was going to see what our city council was going to do, if we were going to pass this resolution, and then take it forward from there.
You know, I was gonna say, most businesses are requiring that they have a face mask before they go inside. So,
Yes.
I mean, I don't think it's gonna be a problem. What I noticed on Saturday was, mostly everyone is wearing one, maybe a handful of people as I walked around, I moved around with the store. During the whole day, maybe a handful of people were not wearing it. But, I think it would work well. We need to.
So are you saying that we're requesting the governor's orders, or we are challenging the governor's orders?
We're asking the governor if he would give us an executive order to mandate Bill County or Pearsall to override his executive order on the mandate for mask wearing. And hopefully, like I said, hopefully City Dilly will come on, and also the county of Frio. And I think that, you know, those 3 entities together, I think it'll be more stronger than just the city of Pearsall.
So in other words, we have to create a letter and then somehow get it to the governor.
Yes, sir. And also, I spoke this morning I texted yesterday the state rep, Mr. King, and he said that whatever the wishes of the city council are, that he's more willing to take the letter to Austin and present it to the governor.
Any other questions, Council?
I have a question from council. In this particular case, can we be a little bit more strict?
I'm sorry?
In this particular case, can we be a little bit more strict than the governor's order?
Oh, that's the purpose of the resolution, is the fact that at this particular time, as it relates to masks, that's not permissible. Only the governor has the authority to do what Councilman Segovia is asking at this point.
I thought we were under the understanding that we could be a little bit, we just could loosen up.
That has changed in light of his most recent order, when he specifically stated and said that people were not going to be penalized for not wearing masks.
I have a question.
I'm sorry?
I have a question.
Are you finished, Lori?
Okay.
I'm done.
Yes, Councilwoman.
So I was watching the video again. I'm all about wearing the face mask, but the governor said that no city, no entity could force it because the CDC doesn't. They said it's not. What is the word they use? Efficient enough, like the cloth mask. So that's why he was ordering that we couldn't fine people, that we could surely require it, but businesses could enforce it. Like city entities and counties could not. Did something change from here to there? Is that why we're going to send in the executive order to see if they'll allow us to do that?
I can answer that. Councilwoman, I think you're asking a question of something that's changed, most definitely. You know, from the time that the governor opened it up to now, you know, we have over 10 cases, you know, coming out of Frio County. And of course, you know, they're not, you know, in a community spread, but they are coming from a entity that works here in Frio County where, very similar to what you just been saying a while ago, that there's a lot of employees that work there, that have been around people that have been tested positive for COVID-19. And that's the reason that the things have changed. So yes, ma'am, it has changed.
No, I'm talking about the governor's orders, that he's gonna allow us to mandate, because he said there that nobody can mandate the face mask. I'm all about it, but I don't wanna get in trouble with him saying, have the video clipping of him saying that.
That's what we're asking.
That's why we're asking the governor.
We're sending this
Because I
letter.
can't hear, so that's why I'm asking the question, I can't really hear y'all.
We're sending this letter to the governor, Councilwoman.
We're sending the letter to the governor.
So I was asking if that's what y'all were talking about.
What I wanted to say, Mayor, if I can, is that the resolution was drafted in such a way, based on the information that was presented to me, but it was drafted to give the directive to the city manager to contact any public officials or entities at the local, state, or federal level in order to support this. So it's designed to have, if the council wants to adopt it, then the resolution does get forwarded to the governor's office. But if the council so directs the city manager, then he is then able to contact those officials and entities, which could include any public official in Frio County or public entity, be it the school, the hospital district, the county, the city of Dillon, for example, or even individual elected office holders. But then the way it's written is broadly enough to also give him the directive to contact the state representative, the state senator, and U.S. representative and senators as well.
And it's already included in the resolution, right?
Yes, by its broad language.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. No other questions? Mayor, take a motion, please.
Mayor, I would like to make a motion, ma'am, that we go ahead and adopt resolution 2020-0502, requesting the governor, order that, facial masks be worn in the city of Pearsall.
Second.
All in favor, by show of hand? Motion carries unanimously.
Thank you, Council.
Thank you. All righty. Item 5, executive session in accordance with Texas Government Code, Chapter 5.1, Subchapter 5.1.071. A, discussion, negotiating the contract with solid waste and collection and disposal services for the public. Need to entertain a motion to go into executive session, please?
Motion. Second.
All in favor? Executive session?
We have score sheets.
7:54, Mayor.
The time is 7:54.
Crystal.
Yes.